Hey guys, it's Justin at the Survivor Review, and today I'm going to be talking about the newest Star Trek movie, Star Trek Into Darkness. And wow, they blew it out of the park. Now, I'm a huge fan of the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek. I love that movie. I think it's a great movie. I can watch it whenever and never gets old. And I had really high expectations for this, and I was very nervous that it might not meet those expectations. And it did. It nearly surpassed them. Besides a few little flaws, this was a great movie, and definitely a movie you need to check out because it's so awesome. I'm going to start out by saying, back in my Iron Man 3 video, I kept mentioning the big spoiler talk video that me and Sam are going to do that we never got around to doing. Sorry about that, guys, but we didn't see the movie at the same time, so like the days were we didn't know when we would do it and everything. But for sure, we are going to be doing a spoiler video for this because me and Sam both saw it last night, and Sam really loved the movie and he really wants to discuss it, so we're going to do a big full-on discussion. We're going to get his opinion, and then we're going to discuss some spoilers and stuff like that. But on to this review. I'll give a very brief gist of the plot. It's another movie like Iron Man 3 where the gist of the plot, it sounds simple, but the movie is very complex and there's a lot of stuff going on. Plot simply, there's this Starfleet officer guy named John Harrison, and he's been blowing stuff up, killing people involved in Starfleet, and Kirk and his crew are going after him. And that's essentially all I can say without getting too much into it. There's a lot more into it than that. But then it's just them trying to find him and interacting with him and stuff like that. So all around, the performances, everybody's in top shape. They're still as good, a lot even better than they were last time. And one of the few flaws with the first Star Trek movie is that the villain Nero was very one-dimensional. And yeah, they fixed that problem with this one. Definitely, Benedict Cumberbatch plays John Harrison, the major bad guy, and he nails it. He is intimidating. He is, menacing. Whenever he's on screen, you're just watching him, you're like, okay, this guy means business. And he is great. He nails it, one of the best villains in the Star Trek series, I'd say. And he does a really good job. Now, the action in this movie is great. J.J. Abrams is one of the best directors working now. He is so good at moving the camera and making the scenes intense and very interesting. They can take scenes where you know the character's not gonna die because it's Captain Kirk, but they still make some intense, oh my god, how are they gonna get out of this? Oh jeez, and it works, and all those scenes are so great. This scene, it's not really much of a spoiler because it's all in the posters and the trailers. The scene of the Enterprise falling near the end, falling to Earth, is so intense and goes on for a while, but it keeps your interest the whole way through. The pacing in this movie, it never loses you. It keeps you interested the whole way. You're never like, okay, just time for the exposition scene. It keeps your interest. And I love how some of the characters, the main crew, they don't get as much screen time as they could have. That's a really minor issue. They don't get as much focus on them. But when they do, they're doing different things, which I love. So it's not just retreading the original. When you see Chekhov, he's working in the engineering this time to do this thing. And you see Scotty, he's helping him out when he's on an enemy ship and helping him out that way. And when you see Sulu, he's in charge of the Enterprise, acting captain, while Kirk and Spock are down on a planet. And it's all these interesting new things that makes the movie feel different, makes the movie feel fresh. It doesn't feel like it's retreading the original at all. And it's such a fun thrill ride. Now, my minor issues is, like I said, the fact that the cast doesn't get as much to do, but they still get a lot. When they do, they have good payoffs for each character. So it works. Like Chekhov, like I say, doesn't get as much to do because he's engineering, so he's not on the bridge most of the time. But then there's like one scene where it does this big thing, and you're like, ah, okay, there's like the Chekhov moment, and that worked out great. Another problem is that it borrows things without getting too much into it. It borrows stuff from some previous Star Trek movies, and you didn't really feel like you needed to. It's like you feel like the whole idea of the reboot was that you can do whatever you want. Doing this alternate universe, you can go wherever you want, go off in all these different directions. And the fact that they kind of went back to one of the movies, you're kind of just like, they didn't need to. And it was really weird though, because it was one of the 10,000 rumors for this movie. One of them I didn't want to come true, and it did. And at first I was kind of like, but they made it work, which is really surprising. I was expecting to like, okay, now I'm gonna hate the movie for the rest of the movie, and I didn't. I still loved it. So they really found that was surprising. I was just like, they made it work, and I liked that. I thought that was really good. Some of the fans, the diehard Star Trek fans, might have a few issues, and if you do, like Iron Man, I perfectly understand, but I honestly really liked it, and I just thought it was really well done. I loved seeing RoboCop in the movie. Peter Weller, in the original RoboCop, he's in it, and he's like an admiral, and you think he's just gonna be like in the first few opening scenes doing stuff, and not seen again, but he plays a bigger part, and I like that because he's an awesome actor, and it was just cool seeing him in something. So I like that it starts out small, but it goes on and gets bigger. The trailers kind of fit the movie a little bit, like how Iron Man, the trailers were all like, it's the darkest, it's really serious, and then you watch Iron Man 3 and it's just a fun, hilarious, goofy thrill ride. This still has a lot of humor, not as much humor as the first, but a lot of humor, is a lot of fun, but it has a lot of serious stuff. And there's some emotional moments that I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty sad actually. And they all work for the most part. One of them emotional moments near the end, it's not going to really pay off as much, so it doesn't have, at least for me, I wasn't as much emotionally into it. I know the person sitting next to me sounded like she was tearing up a little bit, but I wasn't. I don't know if I like it better than the first. I feel, this is going to be kind of a cop-out, but I feel it is a superior movie, like story-wise, plot-wise, because the first movie is very simple and just straightforward. This has a lot of things going on, more developed, but overall, like, fun-wise, I can see myself rewatching the first one more, because this is the one you kind of have to sit down to rewatch it. You can't just be like, oh, let's just throw on Star Trek Into Darkness, that'd be fun. It doesn't work as well like that. The way I kind of like to reference it is, going back to the original Star Wars trilogy, Empire Strikes Back is clearly the superior film to A New Hope. It's much more complex, characters are more developed, the story's more, there's more involved, more stuff going on. But in the long run, I love A New Hope more because it's a little more classic and a little more fun. If that makes any sense. That's kind of how this is. This is like the Empire Strikes Back to that. Pretty much it is, because it gets more complicated, the story gets deeper. It doesn't end on such a down note as Empire does, but there's still really serious moments. And that's how I interpret it. I love this movie, a bunch of fun. Out of 10, I was really thinking going 10 out of 10, like I gave the first one. But I don't know, this is kind of hard. I might go 9.5, because borrowing stuff from the previous movie, it does kind of stick out whenever I'm thinking back on it. Kind of like, they didn't need to. But when I was watching the movie, I enjoyed it the whole way through, a fun ride. It's another movie where I might change my opinion in the future, I might go 10. But as of right now, as the movie's still kind of fresh in my mind, maybe by the time we go to the spoiler video, it will have sunk in more, and my opinion might change. But as of right now, 9.5 out of 10, which is still a great score for this movie, which is such a fun, awesome movie. I'm so surprised that they almost topped the original, because I love that one, and that's such a hard act to follow. And they did it. J.J. Abrams did it. And like most people are saying, I'm now excited for what he's going to do with Star Wars, because he can pull it off. He has the right style, the right sense of fun, the right sense of camera movement, which George Lucas never did in the prequels, to make it fresh and exciting. And I saw the movie in IMAX 3D, and I also saw Iron Man 3 in IMAX 3D, which I said was not worth it. This one is definitely worth it if you have the chance. The 3D, you can do without it. The opening scene looks awesome in 3D, and there's some stuff at the end where they're in where they're on Earth, and 3D looked good. But for the most part, 3D's But the IMAX, they're scenes shot in IMAX, so it fills up the whole screen and it's huge. It makes you more immersive into the movie because you're being more immersed into all these strange worlds and just being on the Enterprise, which is, I love the design of the ship. So if you can, check it out in IMAX 3D. If you just want to see it in regular 3D, probably don't have to, but if you want to, it's not going to completely hurt the movie. But yeah, that's Star Trek Into Darkness. As it stands right now, I haven't really seen too many movies over this year, but it's my favorite movie of the year so far. But I didn't expect it to be this great. Yeah, that's Star Trek Into Darkness. Go check it out. It's awesome. And if you're not a Star Trek fan, definitely, even if you're not, see the J.J. Abrams movies. See the reboot and then see this, because they're both worth it. They're both great films on their own. I mean, there's a lot of awesome callbacks to the series, which are really nice, but they're not like crucial plot points. So if you're a non-fan, you're not gonna get them. You're gonna understand everything plot-wise. There's gonna be little in-jokes you're not gonna get. It's about it. So even if you're not a Star Trek fan, check out these movies. They're awesome, and you'll enjoy them. And yeah, that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later.